Welcome to Stoic Spirit, the channel dedicated to exploring the timeless wisdom of Stoicism and applying its principles to navigate the complexities of modern life. Have you ever found yourself caught in the cycle of pursuing a woman, investing time and energy, only to feel a growing sense of imbalance or even a loss of self? Have you ever wondered what really happens when you break that cycle, when you stop pursuing and choose to step back? Today, we'll delve into this intriguing dynamic through the lens of Stoic philosophy. We'll explore the potential reactions you might encounter, from initial confusion to attempts to re-engage, and most importantly, how you can navigate these situations with grace, dignity, and unwavering self-respect. Is silence the key? How can you, as a man, maintain your confidence and inner peace when you decide to withdraw your energy and attention? We'll examine how Stoic principles like focusing on what's within your control, accepting what you cannot change, and finding strength in virtue can empower you to not only handle these situations, but also emerge stronger and more connected to your true self. Join us as we uncover the power of Stoicism in the realm of relationships and learn how to cultivate a sense of self-worth that doesn't depend on external validation. Initial reaction, shock and confusion. Navigating the silence. The first thing you'll likely notice when you cease communication and stop actively pursuing a woman is a shift in the dynamic. This shift often manifests as surprise, perhaps even confusion from her. The sudden halt in communication, especially if the interaction was previously frequent or consistent, can be jarring. She might find herself replaying past conversations, analyzing her own actions, and questioning what might have led to this change. She might wonder what happened, what she did wrong, and even question her place in your life. This period of uncertainty can trigger a range of emotions in her, from curiosity and mild annoyance to frustration and even anxiety. She might reach out to try and understand the silence, or she might withdraw further, adding to the complexity of the situation. This is precisely where the wisdom of Stoicism becomes invaluable. Stoicism teaches us the crucial distinction between what lies within our control and what lies outside of it. While you might be tempted to try and alleviate her confusion or manage her emotional response, Stoicism reminds us that her feelings, her reactions, and her interpretations are ultimately outside of your sphere of influence. Trying to control or manipulate her emotional state is not only a futile effort, but also a distraction from what truly matters: your own inner state. You can't dictate how she feels or what she thinks, and attempting to do so will only lead to frustration and a further erosion of your own inner peace. Instead, Stoicism encourages you to focus on what you can control: your own thoughts, actions, and responses. This means maintaining your composure, resisting the urge to react impulsively, and staying grounded in your own principles. By focusing on your own internal landscape, you create space for her to process her own emotions and for yourself to gain clarity and perspective. This act of stepping back, of embracing the silence, is not a sign of indifference, but rather a powerful demonstration of self-control and a commitment to your own emotional well-being. Remember, her reaction to the silence is her journey to navigate, not yours to fix. A time for reflection. Cultivating inner strength and clarity. The silence that follows the cessation of pursuit is not an empty void. It's a fertile ground for introspection and growth. It's an opportunity for both you and her to reflect on the dynamics of the interaction, the nature of the connection, and most importantly, yourselves. While she might be contemplating the relationship and what transpired, replaying conversations and analyzing her own feelings and actions, this period offers you a crucial chance to turn inward and examine your own motivations, behaviors, and values. This is a time to ask yourself some critical questions. Have you stayed true to your values throughout the interaction? Did you compromise your principles or act in ways that didn't align with your authentic self? Were you driven by a genuine connection or by a need for external validation, seeking her approval to bolster your own sense of self-worth? Were you chasing a feeling, an idealized image, or a fantasy rather than engaging with the reality of the situation? Honest self-reflection can be uncomfortable, but it's essential for personal growth. Often, when we pursue someone intensely, we can lose sight of ourselves in the process. We might prioritize their needs and desires above our own, compromise our boundaries, or even adopt behaviors that don't feel genuine simply to maintain their attention. The silence created by stepping back provides the space to reclaim yourself, to reconnect with your core values, and to rediscover what truly matters to you. This period of reflection is not about assigning blame or dwelling on past mistakes. It's about gaining a deeper understanding of yourself, your patterns, and your motivations. It's about identifying areas where you might have strayed from your path and making a conscious decision to realign with your authentic self. Perhaps you'll realize that you were seeking external validation to fill an internal void, that you were overly focused on the outcome rather than the process, or that you were projecting your own desires and expectations onto the other person. These realizations, while sometimes difficult, are invaluable for personal growth and future interactions. Moreover, this period of silence allows you to assess the relationship dynamic with more objectivity. Was the connection based on mutual respect, shared values, and genuine interest, or was it fueled by insecurity, neediness, or a fear of being alone? By stepping back and observing your own thoughts and feelings without the distraction of constant interaction, you can gain a clearer perspective on the true nature of the connection and its potential for growth. Don't let the pursuit of external validation overshadow your inherent self-worth. Your value doesn't come from someone else's opinion or attention. It comes from within, from your character, your integrity, and your commitment to living a life aligned with your values. Use this time of reflection to cultivate inner strength, to reconnect with your authentic self, and to build a foundation of self-respect that doesn't depend on external approval. This inner work is the key to navigating future relationships with greater awareness, confidence, and genuine connection. Testing boundaries. A Stoic response to re-engagement. After a period of silence and disengagement, she might attempt to re-establish contact or test the boundaries you've established. This could manifest in various ways, from a casual text message or a seemingly innocent social media interaction, to more overt attempts to recapture your attention. She might post something she knows will pique your interest, like photos from a fun outing, or cryptic messages hinting at a change in her life. She might like old photos or posts, suddenly become more active on platforms you both use, or even mention you in comments or stories. These actions are often not malicious, but rather a way of gauging your reaction, assessing her influence, and reasserting a sense of control in the dynamic. She's essentially testing the waters to see if you'll bite, if you'll break the silence and revert back to the previous pattern of pursuit. This is where the true strength of a Stoic man becomes evident. Stoicism equips you with the tools to navigate these potentially tricky situations with grace, composure, and unwavering self-respect. The key is to resist the urge to react impulsively or emotionally. Don't allow yourself to be drawn back into the cycle of seeking validation or chasing after attention. Instead, remain calm, observe her actions without judgment, and reflect on your own motivations and desires. Before responding to any attempt at re-engagement, ask yourself, what is the underlying motivation behind her actions? Is she genuinely interested in reconnecting? Or is she simply testing the waters, seeking validation, or trying to regain a sense of control? Are her actions consistent with her previous words and behaviors? Is this interaction aligned with your own values and goals? Honest self-reflection will prevent you from being swayed by fleeting emotions or the allure of rekindling a connection that might not serve your best interests. A Stoic response is not about playing games, manipulating the situation, or intentionally ignoring her. It's about acting with intention, clarity, and self-awareness. It's about choosing your responses based on reason, logic, and a deep understanding of your own needs and values, rather than being driven by insecurity, fear of loss, or a desire for external validation. Your steadfastness in maintaining your boundaries will communicate confidence and self-respect, qualities that are far more attractive than any desperate attempt to win her back. It demonstrates that your sense of self-worth isn't contingent on her attention or approval. You are secure in yourself, regardless of her actions. If you choose to respond, do so with calmness, measure, and without any hint of desperation or neediness. Keep your responses brief, polite, and focused on the present moment. Avoid rehashing the past or engaging in lengthy explanations. Your composure will convey strength and emotional maturity. Remember, this is an opportunity to reinforce the boundaries you've set and to demonstrate that you are in control of your own emotions and actions. By responding thoughtfully and deliberately, you're not only protecting your own well-being, but also setting a healthy precedent for future interactions. This grounded and self-assured approach is not only empowering for you, but also signals a level of maturity and self-respect that is universally admired. It shows that you are not easily swayed by external forces, and that you prioritize your own inner peace above all else. This, in the long run, is far more compelling than any desperate attempt to win someone's attention. Seeking closure, the power of choosing your peace. When you disengage from a connection, particularly one where you are actively pursuing, it's not uncommon for the other person to seek closure. This desire for explanation, for a definitive reason behind the shift in dynamic, is a natural human response to a change in a familiar pattern of interaction. She might reach out directly, asking why you've withdrawn, what went wrong, or what she could have done differently. She might seek answers through mutual friends, analyze past conversations for clues, or even try to manufacture scenarios to elicit a response from you. This quest for closure often stems from a need to understand, to make sense of the situation, and to regain a sense of control. However, a crucial tenet of Stoicism is understanding that you are not obligated to provide closure that compromises your own inner peace. While empathy and compassion are important virtues, prioritizing your own emotional well-being is not selfish. It's essential for self-preservation. Offering explanations, rehashing past events, or engaging in emotionally charged conversations can reopen old wounds, rekindle unhelpful patterns of interaction, and ultimately disrupt the tranquility you've cultivated by stepping back. Consider this: if providing closure requires you to re-engage with a dynamic that was causing you distress, is it truly serving you or her? Sometimes the most compassionate act is to maintain your boundaries, protect your peace, and allow the silence to speak for itself. This doesn't mean being cold, callous, or intentionally hurtful. It simply means prioritizing your own emotional well-being and recognizing that you are not responsible for managing her emotional state. Remember, closure is a personal process, and it doesn't always require a neatly packaged explanation or a definitive answer. Sometimes, the very act of accepting the unknown, of letting go of the need to understand everything, can be its own form of closure. This acceptance allows for healing, growth, and the opportunity to move forward without being tethered to the past. Furthermore, her desire for closure might not always be rooted in genuine self-reflection. In some cases, it can stem from a need for validation, a desire to regain control, or even an attempt to manipulate you back into the previous dynamic. By recognizing these potential motivations, you can avoid being drawn back into a pattern of interaction that ultimately doesn't serve either of you. The silence itself can be a powerful form of closure. It allows space for both of you to process your emotions, to reflect on the experience, and to draw your own conclusions. It creates a clean break, a clear demarcation between the past and the present, allowing for new beginnings and healthier patterns of interaction in the future. Ultimately, the decision of whether or not to provide closure rests with you. Listen to your intuition, prioritize your own well-being, and choose the path that leads to greater peace and clarity. Remember, you are not obligated to explain your actions or justify your choices to anyone. Your primary responsibility is to yourself, to your own emotional health and well-being. Choosing your peace is not selfish. It's an act of self-respect and a crucial step towards living a more authentic and fulfilling life. Let the silence be the answer, the closure that's needed, and allow yourself the freedom to move forward with grace and dignity. Emotional responses: maintaining stoic composure in the face of reactivity. When you choose to disengage and stop pursuing, be prepared for a potential wave of emotional responses from the other person. These reactions can range from anger and frustration to sadness and tears, or even, surprisingly, relief. The specific emotion displayed will depend on her personality, her attachment style, her interpretation of the situation, and her own emotional landscape. Understanding the nature of emotions, both hers and your own, is crucial for navigating this phase with grace and maintaining your stoic composure. Anger might manifest as sharp words, accusations, attempts to provoke a reaction, or even passive-aggressive behaviors. She might feel rejected, abandoned, or even wronged by your decision to withdraw. Sadness, on the other hand, might present as expressions of longing, regret, or a sense of loss. She might try to appeal to your empathy by emphasizing her emotional pain or reminding you of shared memories. And then there's relief, a reaction that can be both surprising and potentially unsettling. This might indicate that she was also feeling the strain in the dynamic, that she was already contemplating disengagement, or that the pursuit was becoming overwhelming. Stoicism teaches us a fundamental truth about emotions. They are, by their very nature, transient. They arise, peak, and eventually subside. Like waves on the ocean, they ebb and flow, constantly changing. Recognizing this impermanence is crucial for maintaining your equilibrium. Her emotional reactions, however intense they might seem in the moment, are not permanent fixtures. They will eventually pass. Your task is to weather the storm without being swept away by the currents of her emotional reactivity. Don't allow her emotions to dictate your actions or compromise your inner peace. It's easy to get caught up in the drama, to feel compelled to respond defensively, to explain yourself, or to try and fix her emotional state. However, remember the core principle of Stoicism: focus on what you can control. You cannot control her emotions, her reactions, or her interpretations. Attempting to do so is not only futile, but also detrimental to your own well-being. You are only responsible for your own responses, your own thoughts, and your own actions. Instead of reacting impulsively, take a step back and observe her emotional display with detachment and without judgment. Recognize that her reactions are a reflection of her own internal state, her own unresolved issues, and her own interpretation of the situation. They are not a reflection of your worth or your value. Maintain your composure by focusing on your breath, grounding yourself in the present moment, and reminding yourself of your Stoic principles. Practice emotional restraint, choose your words carefully, and avoid engaging in arguments or emotionally charged discussions. If you choose to respond, do so with calmness, clarity, and compassion, but without compromising your own boundaries or allowing yourself to be drawn back into the previous dynamic. Remember, your goal is not to suppress or invalidate her emotions, but rather to maintain your own emotional equilibrium and to respond in a way that is aligned with your values and principles. By holding steady in your Stoic composure, you demonstrate strength, emotional maturity, and a deep respect for both yourself and her. You create space for her to process her own emotions without becoming entangled in her emotional drama. This allows for a healthier and more balanced dynamic, even if the ultimate outcome is a separation. Your Stoic response not only protects your own well-being, but also models healthy emotional regulation, a valuable lesson for both of you. Re-evaluating your worth. Finding validation within. When you cease pursuit and disrupt the established dynamic, it often triggers a period of re-evaluation from the other person. She might begin to reassess your worth, not necessarily in a monetary or societal sense, but in terms of your value within the context of her life and her emotional landscape. This re-evaluation can be influenced by a variety of factors, including the nature of your previous interactions, her own emotional needs, her perception of your character, and the perceived loss of attention she was receiving. She might start to consider what you brought to the table, the qualities you possess, and the role you played in her life. This process can lead to a range of realizations, from recognizing your positive attributes and contributions to questioning her own judgment and initial perceptions. However, a crucial aspect of Stoic philosophy is understanding that your true worth is not dependent on anyone else's evaluation, including hers. It's not determined by external validation, attention, or approval. Your worth is inherent, intrinsic, and resides within your character, your actions, and how you live by your principles. It's a function of your integrity, your compassion, your resilience, and your commitment to living a virtuous life. The pursuit of external validation is a precarious path, as it places your self-esteem in the hands of others. Your sense of worth becomes contingent on their opinions, their moods, and their whims. This can lead to an emotional roller coaster, where your self-esteem fluctuates based on external feedback. Stoicism offers a more stable and empowering alternative, finding validation within. By focusing on your own character development, by striving to live in accordance with your values, and by cultivating inner strength and resilience, you build a foundation of self-worth that is unshakable by external forces. This doesn't mean becoming indifferent to the opinions of others, but rather recognizing that their evaluations are not the ultimate measure of your value. When you stop seeking external validation, you reclaim your power. You no longer need someone else to tell you that you are worthy, valuable, or lovable. You know it within yourself. This inner knowingness radiates outwards, creating a sense of confidence and self-assuredness that is far more attractive than any desperate attempt to win someone's approval. The period of re-evaluation that she undergoes is ultimately her own journey. You cannot control her thoughts, her feelings, or her conclusions. What you can control is your own response to this situation. Use this time to reinforce your own sense of self-worth, to reconnect with your values, and to reaffirm your commitment to living a life of integrity and purpose. This is an opportunity to practice self-compassion, to forgive yourself for any past mistakes, and to focus on becoming the best version of yourself. By prioritizing your own growth and well-being, you demonstrate a level of self-respect that is both empowering and inspiring. This inner strength and self-assuredness will not only benefit you in your relationships, but also in all aspects of your life. It's a journey of self-discovery, of recognizing your inherent worth, and of living a life that is authentic, meaningful, and aligned with your truest self. This, in the end, is far more valuable than any external validation you might receive. Reconnecting, navigating renewed contact with Stoic composure. After a period of silence and disengagement, she might reach out. This reconnection attempt can take many forms, from a casual text or social media message to a more direct phone call or even a chance encounter. The reasons behind her renewed contact can be varied. Genuine curiosity about your well-being, a desire to understand the reasons behind the disengagement, a re-evaluation of her feelings, or simply a need to fill a void in her life. Regardless of her motivation, the key to navigating this reconnection is to maintain Stoic composure and avoid being swept away by emotions or the allure of rekindling the past. If she reaches out, stay calm. Don't rush into a response. Take a moment to breathe, center yourself, and reflect on your own emotional state. Avoid the temptation to immediately interpret her contact as a sign of renewed romantic interest or a validation of your worth. Remember, her reaching out doesn't obligate you to reciprocate with the same level of enthusiasm or engagement. Your response should be dictated by your own needs, values, and a clear understanding of what you want from the interaction. Respond briefly, politely, and respectfully. Keep your replies concise and focused on the present moment. Avoid lengthy explanations, rehashing past events, or engaging in emotionally charged discussions. A simple, "I'm doing well, thank you, hope you are too," can suffice. This demonstrates politeness without opening the door to a potentially overwhelming or unwanted re-engagement. Your brevity also signals that you are not readily available to fill a void in her life or to re-enter the previous dynamic. Don't let emotions or the hope of rekindling a past connection cloud your judgment. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of renewed contact, especially if you still harbor feelings for her. However, it's crucial to maintain objectivity and avoid projecting your own desires onto the situation. Ask yourself, is this reconnection genuinely beneficial for me? Is it aligned with my values and goals? Am I being true to myself by engaging, or am I being swayed by nostalgia, loneliness, or a fear of being alone? Remember, maintaining your boundaries is not about being cold or indifferent. It's about prioritizing your own well-being and ensuring that your actions are aligned with your own needs and values. By responding with composure and restraint, you demonstrate self-respect and emotional maturity. You also create space for a healthier and more balanced interaction, should you choose to pursue one. Ultimately, the decision of how to proceed rests with you. Listen to your intuition, trust your judgment, and choose the path that leads to greater peace, clarity, and self-respect. A Stoic approach empowers you to navigate renewed contact with grace, wisdom, and a firm commitment to your own emotional well-being. When you make the conscious decision to stop chasing, to disengage from the pursuit of external validation, the subsequent events are ultimately less important than how you choose to respond to them. The true transformation lies not in whether she returns, reevaluates her feelings, or seeks closure, but in the inner work you do to cultivate resilience, self-respect, and emotional independence. This shift in focus from external outcomes to internal growth is the essence of a Stoic approach to relationships. The potential reactions you might encounter, confusion, boundary testing, emotional outbursts, or even attempts at reconnection, are merely external events. They are outside your control. What lies within your control, however, is your response. By applying Stoic principles, you can navigate these situations with grace, composure, and a deep sense of inner peace. Practice emotional restraint. Resist the urge to react impulsively or emotionally. Observe her reactions without judgment and choose your responses based on reason, logic, and a clear understanding of your own needs and values. Don't allow her emotions to dictate your actions or compromise your inner tranquility. Reinforce your self-worth. Remember that your value is inherent and doesn't depend on external validation, attention, or approval. Cultivate a deep sense of self-respect by focusing on your character, your actions, and your commitment to living a life of integrity and purpose. By focusing on what you can control, your own thoughts, actions, and responses, you reclaim your power and cultivate a sense of inner peace that is unshakable by external forces. This inner strength and self-assuredness will not only benefit you in your relationships, but also in all aspects of your life. This Stoic approach empowers you to maintain dignity and confidence in all your relationships, not just romantic ones. It allows you to approach interactions with greater clarity, authenticity, and a deep sense of self-respect. It frees you from the need to chase approval or validation, allowing you to connect with others from a place of wholeness and inner strength. This, in the end, is the key to building healthy, fulfilling, and mutually respectful relationships. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Stoicism and its application to navigating the complexities of relationships. We hope you found these insights valuable and empowering. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos exploring the timeless wisdom of Stoicism and its practical applications in modern life. We appreciate your support and look forward to connecting with you again soon.